Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to another Let's Talk. First off, thanks to all my new subscribers and all the people that have come and watched my tarot videos, and some people have been watching my art videos, my all across the board, my Let's Talk videos, which this is. And just thank you. That means a lot to me that you're coming and you're seeing the information and that it's getting out there. I know in my last Let's Talk, I said I wanted to discuss divine masculine and divine feminine, but I feel called to actually talk about something else today. And that is how creativity really helped me when I was going through the awakening activation process, and how it added an extra little bonus to my experience. First off, I want to give a little bit of background. I've been drawing since I was 8 or 9 years old. I've been doing art for a very long time, and it's always been a part of my life, no matter where I was going, where I lived, whether I was homeless or in the middle of some of the worst experiences I've had in my life. Okay, after a car accident I had when I was 19, I spent a lot of time just utilizing art as a healing form. Throughout most of my life, art has been there for me. You know, I have used it to help myself heal. I've used it to help myself grow. And creativity has been a huge part of my spiritual process when it started. I just didn't know how deep it could actually run, however, until about a year and a half ago. Now, during my process, when it started, I exploded with creativity. It was like more gifts were coming to me over time. In the past, when I would use art as a coping mechanism for all the things that I was going through and to just express. And see, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're a musician, a writer, a painter, someone who, likes to do crafts. It doesn't really matter. You're being creative. And that creativity is an alchemy in and of itself. When I was young, there was a time that I was very sick. I was diagnosed with clinical depression and PTSD when I was the age of 15. And in that time, I was very suicidal. I used to do a lot of self-harm. And that specific period of my life, between that age till my early 20s, were very hard, okay? I was on my own since I was about 14. And during that time, okay, and I'm not telling you this to gain sympathy. I'm telling you this for experience. During that time, I had an episode where I had cut myself so bad that I had to go to the mental ward of a hospital. And when I was there, I spent all my time drawing. I spent all of my time doing nothing but healing through art, okay? And one of the things that I did was I don't know if you remember those old computer papers where it had all the dots, like old matrix printers or whatever. And it was about 100 sheets. And I just drew from the start of one page all the way to the end, because back then those pages, that paper, they were all connected. And I ended up giving all that art away to a nurse that was there, and he helped me a lot when I was going through depression. He really did. He helped me learn to see my value when I was there. I wish I could remember his name. It was so long ago, but he did help me to move past the experience that I was going through in my life at that time. So art has always been something that I go to when I'm going through a tough time. And when my awakening happened and I was going through that alchemical process, I started drawing things I never thought that I would draw. I started drawing things that were coming up from my subconscious, secrets, things that now when I look back at some of the pieces that I created back then, I just go, okay, I can't believe I was drawing these things, because some of them had symbolism. Some of the symbolism in them was almost intuitive enough to predict certain stages of my process, certain symbols, certain ways of drawing, like eyes, suns, things like that. I didn't realize it was all intuitive as it came out. And while I was healing, a lot of darkness was coming out of me at the same time. I was really just pushing out so much garbage onto the page, onto paper, and I did it with poetry. I go back, and it's good to keep all these things. If you're going through an awakening process and you're a creative person and you're putting all these things down that are happening to you, even if you're journaling about them, to go back and see what you were picking up on, okay, and what lessons you were learning. And you may find some very interesting stuff that was being either channeled through you, things that were symbols you had never seen before, but suddenly now you know what they mean. Okay, there were things like that happening. And I've learned that during that process, I was accessing many different things, higher realms at the time, memories from different lifetimes, things like that, accessing archetypes that I didn't know I was accessing. So all of these aspects that you will deal with when you're going through your process need an outlet. It's so good to have an outlet. And if you are definitely having an awakening in the heart center, in this area, and you're feeling energy, okay, having a place to creatively express that energy, no matter what type of energy it is so important, because otherwise it churns around. And the type of society that we live in, people aren't, really talking about these things. People aren't really talking about, maybe more so now because of everything that's happening, but people aren't really talking about the truth of it, talking about, this is what's happening to me. I think a lot of people are scared when they're going through an awakening process to actually talk about what's happening to them, unless they have people around them that they can trust. And most people who go through this process, through this alchemical process, they end up being around people who are not going through the same thing as them. And it kind of shatters their world. So if you need to express yourself when you're going through this, it's so important. You should do it. You could do this. Express yourself in any way and get that information out there. Even if you think right now that it doesn't mean something, I guarantee you a couple years later, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, I knew that. How did I know that? Especially if your spiritual studies are continuing, especially if you are reading things and you are finding things that. And the purpose of this, why I'm saying this, the purpose, the reason, is because when you receive information on different levels, okay, subconsciously, spiritually, if you're still connected with your guides and things like that, you will receive messages from guides. And the reason I say that is because during this process, you are connecting with Source Creator. You are strengthening your connection to all, to the everything, to the all, okay? And it's coming through you. Messages, things that are of a different nature that all of us have been cut off from. Okay, these are all things that humanity has been cut off from seeing the truth of. Intuitively, these things will be presented to you. We just, as a society, have been, and there's reasons for that. Okay, there's reasons why. But as a society, as humans, we have cut ourselves off from that intuitive information, from those streams of consciousness, those streams of information that come to us. And one of the biggest antenna that we have in us, okay, it's not the brain, it's the heart. Okay? It is the heart. The heart receives it all. And when you're going through a process of healing yourself and you start clearing up and you start realizing that actual connection to source that you have, you will constantly see messages around you. You will always see them. Either everybody calls them synchronicity. Okay. And I will do another video on synchronicity, my thoughts on that. Okay. But I've learned, okay, that it's like hacking the system in a sense. If you pay attention to all of the little things happening around you, they are messages. They are messages about what nothing happens by chance. It is there to show you something. It is there to teach you something. For example, I live really close to nature here, and we see birds a lot here. And this morning, my mother, she saw a hawk, okay, just flying, and she asked me, she asked me, what does that mean? A hawk just randomly flew overhead, and I told her, I said, look it up. Look it up. What do you think it means, And that led to us having a discussion about some deeply spiritual topics, about things in her life that she was thinking about that were inside her, and that led her to deeper answers. Okay. So everything is here to show us in the system, to give us signs to go in the right direction for our higher self and our connection with Source Creator. But we have cut ourselves off from that. So when you do this art, if you're being expressive with music, writing, blowing glass, whatever, okay, which does sound fun. I'd love to try that sometime. But whatever it is you like to do, you will find that there is little pieces of this expansive nature coming through in your creations. You'll feel it. You'll see it, even if it's symbols. Okay, if you're into chaos magic and you're drawing sigils, you may find later that that sigil you drew was something much deeper. Okay, there may be some kind of thing that tied into it. So we are just not in touch and not in tune so as much as we could be. That's changing. I think that's changing for the collective. But I really wanted to talk about this today because I think that a lot of people who are creative, they have this ability. They have this ability to receive things. And if you get in the zone and you're literally expressing source, okay, and you're receiving all kinds of little steps, they're like pebbles, okay, little pebbles, little signs, little symbols, little things that along your path you realize later that wow, that was something else. When I was younger, and it happened for years, whenever I went to bed at night, I used to draw. And actually I stopped doing this. I stopped doing this after my activation happened. When I would go to bed every night, I would trace on my sheets with my feet an infinity symbol. And I never knew why. Okay? I just did it. It was this weird sort of nervous tick that I had. Okay? And I kept doing it. I just kept doing it. But why? I didn't know why. And it wasn't until later that after the activation, after it happened, it made more sense, and I actually stopped doing it. I didn't do it anymore. It was almost like, well, that message that I kept receiving when I was in a completely blinded state, living my life in a very hedonistic way, okay, and not really questioning it, just thinking, oh, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a symbol. It doesn't, not going deeper with it, not realizing that there was things along my path as I was growing, even when I was young, that were always presenting themselves to me, but I ignored them. And that's one of the biggest faults that we have. One of the suckiest things about being human, I think, is that we don't actually realize these things are happening. because we have so many distractions in our world, and that's what they want. Okay? They want us to be distracted. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to get into when I say they. Okay? But most of those things now, they don't bother me as much as they used to. When you get so deeply ingrained in your own healing process and it's become a ritual for you, it's become a thing you're doing every single day, you are connecting your heart to Source Creator, you are feeling complete. You feel complete. So many humans we walk around like husks, feeling empty and not sure why. Yet constantly pings are happening. Ping over there, ping, ping, ping. Okay? Even through people. We're being shown what exactly we are supposed to do for our best life, for our best experience here, what we're supposed to learn. But we're stunted. It's changing. And I think that people are starting to realize that we are the creators of this. We have, I don't want to say control, but we have the right to create this reality in what we deem fit. But we have been told and betrayed and taught that we are less, but we're more powerful than we think. So all those creatives out there, those people out there that are artists, give yourself the time to heal. Use that process when you are going through an awakening, or, just utilize it and keep those things around, because later you're going to blow your mind. Okay. You just will. Especially if you're doing it organically and no one has interfered with your process and has fed you with a ton of information. If people are spewing information into you and you'll never be really sure if you're intuitively getting those things or not. Yes, get information, learn wisdom from others, but if you spend too much time with mentors and energy workers and all this, and I mean constantly, I'm not saying don't, I mean all the time, if you're always around people, you will be absorbing information that's going to color the experience as it's unfolding in front of you. And I'm not saying that that's not something you shouldn't learn. I've had to learn this. But if you are spending a lot less time within that energy of being taught by gurus and all this stuff, you will find that your deeper connection with Source Creator is through the heart, and you have been receiving messages this entire time. You were just not tuned in. You're just not tuned in, But yeah, that's my serious discussion for today. I hope that everybody has been doing well, and I just stay tuned. I will be releasing another Let's Draw, and I'll be talking on that one as well, and you'll get to see me sketch. But I'm very grateful for all my new subscribers, and I hope that we get more. I'm almost at 20. Who knew? 20. I mean, I want to share this all with you. I want everybody to experience this and to see the information and get it the best way that I can give it to you. And I guess that's through YouTube. All right, so I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.